Okay, I'm going to be painting, continuing on a painting I started on Facebook, which is the sunset and waves. Be doing that a little bit more here. Show the non-glare one. Okay, different colors. I added color to it, so you can see that would be. Um, hey, Jesus, how are you? Okay. I'll wait for a couple people to come on from over at the digest on Facebook. I, you know, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you got to see that I was coming on. Last minute decision. Let me turn this here. Try to turn it. Are you glad I got bored? Okay. Yeah, it's I'm not a TV person. So I'm a person that likes YouTube. I'm a person that likes art, drawing, painting, and I was going to make a YouTube video. I'm sorry. Yeah, YouTube video for tonight. Just upload it. But then I thought my son closed his art store. Uh, I did give a little tour on my Facebook Live about last Tuesday, but I've gotten new things since then, and I wanted to show you a few things I got. So anyone that doesn't see this video right now live can see it later because it will be there. Okay. So, all right. So let me turn the camera around and yeah, I see comments still. Okay. We got Sam here. Let's see. Three people. I know that there might be a few more popping on, but again, it's a last minute thing. So, having said that, let's see. Carl, hello there. Good evening. So, let me turn the camera to show you a few more cool things before I paint that I inherited from my son closing his art studio in New Jersey and going up to I'm sorry, Rome, New York. Okay, so he's just about there now tonight and a long drive. And I had to get some stuff from the studio that used to be mine. And he gave me some bonus stuff from his own home studio. Okay, so let me turn this. Well, actually, yeah, do that. Okay, there's something we're going to be working on right there. All right, so let me unplug this and take a little walk here. This is the newest thing I got right here. I didn't get to show this on Facebook. So this cart, normally I keep. Let me stand up here. Normally I keep my uh, paints. Let's see, what is my set here? This is the set I use. That's the complete set. That's just some half empty. No, those are replacements, and there's a lot of empty, almost empty ones here, but you finish them up. So everything's here in the cart now, and it's on wheels. This is on wheels, okay, also. So I used to keep my paints here just a couple days ago, and they could easily fall off here, and they always were falling off there and stuff. So this is a real blessing here to have this. So down here on row number two, you got your cups. You got, yeah, it's like my son's a tattoo artist, so that's what he was using it for. And his paints, or inks rather, were similar to the Createx paints as far as setting it up. Okay, so down here you've got other goodies of the t-shirt paints, the hot colors. You've got larger bottles of Createx black and white, some gray, for Medea. I love this gray. This is for t-shirts, the warm gray. Um, and it's great for spraying uh, black and whites on a t-shirt. And what else we got? Down there on the bottom, I got the alcohol for cleaning out certain things. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Air Todd, welcome. All right, so we've got a few people here. This is a wonderful thing to have here. you could put that right in the airbrush. Okay, so you take your airbrush and you could put it in the back end. You know, you take it apart and you could squirt it into there because this little guy fits right in. Even the nozzles in the what do you call the eclipse? You know, the little nozzles. You can put them right in there and squirt streams through there and clean out the gun. So that's my new setup as far as the cart goes. It's on wheels, as you can see. So I usually have a tray right here. I move the tray behind me. And so that's the desk, you know, right there. All right. And of course, this lamp here, I've probably showed it before, but this is a daylight lamp. And it's got magnifier and it's got color correct lighting. And it's really, really a nice, stays where you put it kind of. I think NASA had something to do with the construction of it. Color chart, color wheels rather, 5 color wheels from Drew Blair, and they're excellent. There's your, you know, central one, and then they get darker, and then they get lighter. Some paintings that have been laying around on my desk, taking up room. So now I have better storage for paper towels and things like that. And then over here, what came in was some bins. I won't make the tour real long. So this, you know, I do watercolors. I do, so in that bin, this is really deep, deep bins. I have all kinds of stuff. There's just some little buckets there. And there's about 10 airbrush hoses from my school in the manifold, which gives me about 15 hoses now because my new compressor came home. These are just bags we use for, we just toss them off to the side. They're just, you know, for getting rid of garbage and stuff. So that's the, not the Terry Hill model, that's the Silent Air, Sil Air they call it, I think. 6-gallon tank, and it has double motors. That was great for my school. I don't have that anymore. It was attached to my ventilation desk. So this thing is going to be sitting, but it's a, you know, something I'm not going to get rid of. You don't want to sell stuff that makes you money, right? So I'll hang on to it for a number of years, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, my acrylics are all organized now. So all these bins he gave me. Thank you, Steve, my son, Steve, for all this. And these are my post notes and all kinds of good stuff that I have here that can hold all kinds of, you know, tools and stuff, storage stuff down in here, different photos that I would use for projects, paintings that are just laying around. Still not finished. Got to do the trees and stuff and tighten it up. Still not finished. That's what my middle name should be. Not finished. 2 words, but my cat painting. Okay, so this was the original setup, and then he gave me one more of those to stack, and then I have my rolling. That's a rolling cart here too, along with Micron pens, and these are all millions of cartoons that I love to ink in. Whoops, there goes the picture. So I love to ink in all these guys, Wally and Eva, I think. Okay, black and white with Timothy John Luke Smith's inks. That's what Wicked Black. Okay, sorry about the wallpaper, but we're renting the place. We want to take it down and just make white walls. There's my first time, one of the early, yeah, this was the first one I did with Tim's inks. Okay, and then the cat, my cat that we lost back in 2015, 2016. And I took that picture years ago and at another house, and I wanted to paint it. There's Lauren Bacall, Tim's inks again, and just a bunch of little things on the wall here, cartoons and things like that. I got the desk. This might go into the other bedroom. So anyway, that's kind of like the studio setup. The closet obviously now is converted to books, and you know that the fact that you can go all the way in here, there's no doors on it or anything. You could go all the way in and have more room in the room. Okay. What else? Anything else here? So that's pretty much it. The cart's the real big deal. I mean, that's an excellent thing. So I'm going to put the phone in the holder. Might shake a little bit here. And get this, by the way, that's my holder. It's on a I can bend it and put it where I want it like that, bend it down. So this is what I put the phone in, and then I'll put a little piece of tape on it. So let me make sure I don't turn off the phone. Really good camera on this Pixel. I think it's a Pixel phone. My other son works for Verizon. All right, so I'll set up the angle in a second. Let me get some masking tape. I just put a little piece of masking tape on it because I don't trust that it could fall out. Okay. John, hello there. Okay. Sunday night painting here that I don't usually do, but I am tonight. With all the stuff going on in the world too, I needed a little diversion, you know. And I have a person I know personally that's in Ukraine and praying for him, and just devastating over there. So everything is crazy. All right. Oh, let me get that tape on here and stabilize. Okay, Mark, prayers for the UK, yes, and all the children, war, you know, war is ugly, but this war is really like, come on, you know. What I'm saying is, from my friend that's over there, musician, telling us they're hitting civilians. You know, they're not supposed to be doing that, right? They're supposed to be hitting military targets and things like that. That's like war games. But anyway, without going on and on, we're here to relax. And when I get off, I'll be focusing on that and praying for them. And, you know, you wish you could fix the world and all of its troubles. But we have to also do what we do and keep busy and enjoy everything even more and care. Because I know one thing, if the war over there ends, which we pray it does, everybody will go back to doing what they're skilled at, and they'll want to do that, you know. So feel a little kind of like, I don't want to do this right now because they're suffering, but life is this way, you know. All right, so what I have here is a painting. I have a painting here, and I have a sunset with the waves that are sharply focused and then blurry. And yeah, let's see, praying for that. Then the people wonder why terrorists exist. Yeah, right. They get fed up with the injustice of the people in the power. It's a violent world, and it seems like it changed rapidly. But yeah, we're all aware of it. And my prayer life has changed. I almost feel like it will be a prayer warrior, you know, for everything. Because if anybody goes on my Facebook page, they'll see that obviously I'm a Christian and I post a lot of Christian scriptures. I have a biblical worldview, and that's me for most of my adult life. And so I'm a strong believer in prayer, and I've seen that. I've seen it work inside out. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, this is my jet painting I'm going to be doing. So this will be on Facebook Live Monday, okay? And we will have, the jet is already cut out and painted and covered under film, okay? And I can just kind of peel that off later after I put in my sky. The rest is kind of, the hard part's over as far as I'm concerned, the cutting out, you know. Yes, it was traced down. And then as it's all wiggly lines, you have to go back in and you have to sharpen those lines and even use a ruler, probably in some spots here for perfect straightness. But then when you cut it out freehand for the most part. I do have rulers that can cut out with the X-Acto knife, but it's all freehand cut out. So there's a difference when the X-Acto knife goes into the frisket. There's a stabilizing that goes on, especially for people that have like a little tremory type hand, say with pen or pencil. And once you sink that in, if as long as you get the right angle and you can see the groove you're in, and you can see the line, you can pull, and you got that sinking into the frisket. Uh, the blade is stabilized, and so if you take your time and you look for the angles, like right here, you can't chop that up because what you cut out is what you get, right? So in this case, you just take your time, find all the little shapes. This was around, this was freehand. This was freehand without a circle template. And then it was freehand cut. I hope it's clean as clean as I can always touch up a little bit later if I see flaws, but there'll be sunset coming through here and through the cockpit. Okay, so there you go. Got the pilot in there. So I can treat this as a separate thing. I don't have to worry because right now it's covered. So if I paint the sunset, that's not going to get any sunset in there. But I can treat that separately when I get my sunset in there. And this, I'll just open that up and spray the sunset colors of the color that's in there, right? And then this is a big glow. And then it looks like a blast almost, right? And then the more saturated, that means more closer to the edge of the color wheel, kind of brighter yellow. That turns into a color that has realism in it, which would be opposites are in it, and they're more browner and grayer, so then it pulls over to your orange and your deeper orange with some maybe a little red, and then your brown probably would be either the blue in the original orange color, or you can start with burnt umbers and oranges and whatever, it will work. So, okay, now I got to freeze here on I'm not used to live streams on YouTube too much, but let's get busy here. So I have, let me put the jet off to the side. And then, so what I cut of a number of black and whites that I have, this will go under here, but that's to protect and clean up the sky. That goes just like that. But in reality, I need the other piece that I just cut from it. So let me get that. Oops, there goes the X-Acto knife. I think this is it. I hope this is it. It kind of looks weird, but it goes this way. Okay, so that comes away from this section. Guys, I don't see any comments on here. Can one of you guys just say something like hello or whatever? Because I saw some earlier, but I know you're watching. Okay, there we go. Looking on Facebook, yeah. And you know what? When I started my live feed tonight, I went to Facebook Live and I started to send it out, and then I stopped myself. I said, wait a minute, this is going on YouTube. And then when you go on YouTube, it's not as simple. They want a title. They want, they do a screenshot for you of a thumbnail. And so I had to do it 2 times. But anyway, this is the top cutout piece. So in this one, I can use as a freehand shield to come in here and kind of bring up the water. Believe it or not, let's see. Let me see here. All right, so that's the lower reflection of the sun, I guess. And it looks like, from what I'm seeing, yeah, it looks like I didn't, wait a minute. Okay, so that orange is there, so we're good there. It's just off a little bit, so the orange that I have in the painting is there. All right, so I have to think my way through that. So what I'll do to start with is I'll start to tint. Remember, mine is more blue, I changed the color. This is like too dark. It's cool looking and it would have worked, and it would have probably been even easier. But I'm going to start going after some of these things in here and making them, they're yellow. They'll be like reflections of the sun. So I'm going to get my color mixed on my new setup here. And like I say, I use the Solo cups all the time. I love them. Thank you. Appreciate it. Makes you feel good when people like your work, you know, like what you're doing, hopefully like the teaching, you know. I teach the best I can and I paint the best I can. So I'm just trying to fit in there and, you know, tell what I know. And there's many ways to do things. So it's not just, you know, that's why you watch all the different videos. So I'm adding white to the yellow and orange. So I'll keep it off to the side here. And oh boy, got to get used to reaching over to the cart. What I might end up doing for paintings is pull the bottles out that I just need to have on the cart. I'm talking about the little cart that has all the bins in it, and the other one's a rolling cart. I might pull out and gather up things like what I'm needing instead of having them all over the place. Like, okay, at the school we would put all the things that I need. It might be an X-Acto knife, it might be some post notes, it might be a couple of small shields, and then they're not gonna go flying off the tray. They'll be ready, and I won't be going like, where is that, you know, and erasers and what have you. And so that's trying to do what I used to do at the school a little bit. Okay. So I've got a yellow mix here, which is not what I'm going to spray on there. I'm going to actually spray a little orange. I'm going to put some orange in it. Mixing off to the side. So I'll do one drop, see what we get. Yeah, we're going to go into kind of that color. Of course, that wasn't mixed. Then what I do when I'm using opposites, which in this case, it won't be cerulean because that'll go towards green, you know. Got to look at your color wheel. So I got cobalt, which is a true blue kind of thing. And instead of dropping a drop into this, okay, I'm going to put the drop out on my palette, which just is my cutting mat here. And I'm going to take my paintbrush, which I have in that tray over there. Just one of these little old brushes that are not good for painting anymore. They're just worn out. And now I'm going to take a little bit of the blue, just a little bit, and dirty up that color. But I got to be careful because I just want to mute it. You know, I want to make it, and I need more orange in it. I chose the blue. You can gray, of course, yellow would be violet. But what do I need to do? I need a drop of orange, but I'm putting that right into the thing. Okay. All right, so I use the, and now it's muted, and if I spray it really light, you know, I can get, you know, I can, it's the airbrush. We can get very nice, subtle things by just having a very light touch. So who do we got here? Carl and about 12 people. Wow. TV Digest and a Sunday evening, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I forgot I did the one little thing on my personal page and said, I'll be going live, you know. And then somebody came on and said, what time? I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't put it on there. Putting more orange in, guys. Spraying out the difference. Looks like a mustard color almost. The original. Now this is much more orange. One drop goes a long way, so keep that in mind, right? Wow. Still not seeing that orange. So all I'm doing is spraying it out. I really should have sprayed it out, you know, on a piece of paper until it goes orange. Hopefully it will go orange there. It's starting to go where I want it. Because remember, I'm only going to spray. Actually, I need more orange. Bear with me. Mixing colors. I like to have the colors mixed prior to at least a couple colors. And not get into color theory so much as to just, you know, maybe tell this is a color I'm using and have it ready and make the video faster, you know. Okay, so oops, here we go. So I almost missed the color cut. There we go. I'm just looking at these spots here. Now I'm going to come back in with dark, like, so what I'll tint is just to let the sun up here fall down onto the water. And it'll be very subtle. The white's just waiting for some color change. And all of a sudden, just that little bit, a little bit more, there we go, starts to change things really quickly. Now this is much bigger, this white area, than what I need, but I'll just kind of do the same thing. I'll maybe get a little stronger at the top there. So that, where else will I see it? I see it here, over here. Okay, so all of a sudden now the color's dropping down into the water, and some of these highlights, if I spray real light, like over that one, I'll have color change. It won't be bright white and stark, and it'll all start to look more realistic because there, you know, in this kind of a thing, there would be a reflection in the water of some kind of color from the sky. So I'm just going to put it in certain areas. I don't want to get green water. That's a bit too strong there. But we have the airbrush to go. I just want to tint this real lightly right over here, just a smidge of color. And I will put the smaller picture up to, okay. Honey, how you doing? Okay, so all I'm doing is just putting a little picture up that you guys can see. I got a little strong there, but hey, it's the airbrush, you know, we can just fix that. Back and forth. If you don't like it, garbage can's right there. You can toss it in the garbage. All right, so we could probably go, for you guys to see this, I can drop this down a little bit. Just a little bit. I've cleaned up the edges so that you can see the border better. It was all covered. Wow. Hello, David. Okay, so let's get this. All right, so what we got here? All right, so I'm going to just lightly put a little tint, much lighter than what I did over here. That was a little too heavy-handed. Just a little color. I still see some pencil lines through this painting, and it's kind of interesting. What I can bury them. I don't usually let that happen, but it's happening. So, oh yeah, I was going to put this up here for you guys. So you see something, right? So you can see that yellow right in here. I'm spraying over, trying to hit just those spots. It can go into the blue a little. I could get green if I get heavy-handed, but I'm not going to do that. Now these are like pump strokes where I have a yellow and then I go back with the white later and play back and forth with them. They're kind of like circular, out of focus things that are going on there. And if I don't like something, I'm just going to come back in and correct it with either the white or, because there are super highlights right here where you start to see, you know, a stronger, like a super white area. That's still going to not be white though. Let's see. Yeah, some areas are kind of super bright. That's like a super highlight. And again, this print is different than this print. That's a photograph. Yes, I'm using Createx illustration colors, sorry, that are the transparents. Drew Blair's name is on that set, I think. Yeah, it was at least. Spray over it a little bit. I just sprayed over the sun, kind of getting a little more yellow in here, down in here. I'm using this same color in the sky now, over the orange. Just kind of blurring that out a little bit more. There we go. So I just blurred that out. It's a little stronger than I want, but it will be all right. A little more here, a little more there. Just killing all the white areas, and then I can go back with more white and lighten this if it's too heavy and that kind of stuff. I don't want it to look yellow like that. I want it to be more combination of white and that. All right, so right now, while I got the orange in the gun, I'm going to turn that orange, which I almost ran out of actually, I'm going to get a little more brown going on in there. So if I take the orange right out of the bottle and I use the opposite, right, I'm going to get a brown automatically. See, like a burnt umber, kind of. And that's kind of what I want, because if you look here, oops, I just painted my knuckle. That's kind of all I want, is just a little something to deepen it. Maybe I'll give it one shot of burnt umber. Might get too dark. Just one, just to push it. But the blue made the orange go brown anyway, so now I got a drop of burnt. It looks almost like burnt sienna. So let's see what I can do with that here. It's even more muted, so it's dirtier looking. Oh boy, look at that. A little water on my finger. So it's got, I'd rather have a little hole right there. I can go back with the yellow than that dumb dot. You guys can't even see what I did to it, I don't think. So this comes off now and goes over here. And now this brown goes up in here. So let me just see if what I mix will work. So I went from a yellowish orange. This kind of looks sick on here. I'm not gonna leave it like that. Sick, not the happy sick like my son says. Oh, that looks sick, Dad. No, it's sick like I don't like it. All right, so here's an orangey brown. Let's see what we can do here. All right, so that would be the other cutout. I don't want to catch the edge either. I just kind of want to keep it off the yellow a little bit. Just holding it up as a shield. And even go beyond the shape a little bit. I don't even know if it's going to be enough. That's going a little too intense. So I'm going to put sepia in it. I don't want that to get more intense. So I want it to be dirtied up. Kind of like this. Let me just catch this painting over here. Wipe the dust off. Lots of dust. Okay. So if you look here, the sun is here, bursting through the canopy of the boat. And everything else, this is a photograph I took, and everything else is all starting to get really brown over here. This sky is not your typical, it's really getting late in the day. So the sunset is starting to get that midnight feeling. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to put on my painting here. And I'm going to use sepia. As soon as I find it. Black, All right, I'll just add it to what I already mixed. I'm gonna just do one drop and look at it because it could get like super dark. And I'm gonna add orange to it too, only because it starts going into a really, sepia is dark and it can get like, not black, but very, very dark fast. So that's kind of like the color I'm going to try this right now. It's much darker. Hopefully it will do it. Get rid of the other color. Okay. Test it on here. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Maybe a little bit more. Well, the print is weird, so I'm not going to even worry about that. So over here in the corner, shoot it up this way. Can always deepen it still. Go a little lower. Kill that pencil line if I can. Oh, that's transparent. It's not going to kill it. Okay, and then over here, right off that wave, that would be that wave. I'll separate that fading out area there. Let's see. Right around there, maybe? I gotta look. It goes downhill. So I'm not seeing it the same as my cutout. But when you're cutting out an area like this where you really can't tell, there's no line. So I'm just gonna use the shield like on an angle. And just keep it in the corner like that. Okay. That looks white on here, but it's really not. It's, what is that? The reflection of the light. It's the same color. Okay, so I did a little more to the sky, and I'm not going to do anything else right there. So I'm just putting some water in the airbrush, flushing it, high pressure. Wow. All right. So let me think for a minute what I want to do here. I like this darkness out here. I gotta capture that right by the sun. Now, that was I'll probably go for the darker blue like that. So let me mix that color. Now I've got a million bottles all over my tray all of a sudden. Blue. I'm gonna be putting violet too into some of these mixtures. I just want this to be real pretty in color. But right now I am messing with orange and blue. Trying to get a very dark blue again. But I'm not going to spray it without adding some white, even though it will lighten it. Maybe a couple drops. Look at it. Because I need it to be opaque to some degree. All right, so now I'm going to try to put some violet into that color. Just a couple drops. Everything will darken no matter what. As you keep adding, it gets darker in value. Maybe not the kind of darkness that you want, like not dark enough, but it does deepen each color if you're trying to make a match. So I've got a nice dark blue in there, and I'm going to add one drop of black. I'm just guessing, guys. because if I get messed up, I can go towards the blacker reference picture, right? So that's what I'm seeing. It's a lot easier than doing a portrait or something. I mean, there's a lot of forgiveness, but you still can mess it up. Pete, have fun. Okay, so this would be here. Let's see, that would be blocked right there. So I'm going right to that little sun, and I'm going to make that shape, but I'm going to drop down lower a little bit. Whoops, never turn the air down. Let's see, am I on that sun? I better do my lining up thing here, make sure. You can even curl the end here so that you can grab it like a tab. Okay, so the sun is there and the tab is there, and it seems like it's lining up pretty good right there. All right, so I'll go right over here with the darker color. Just dust something in right here. But as I get closer, this side's lighter. I can spray white over it later. This is a lighter shape. This side, let me make sure I'm going to be underneath that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go right on it, right on this paper. And it's darker on the one. It's real dark here. So I got to turn this. Look where I have it. Oh my gosh, it would have went right uphill. So I'll turn that like that. Oh, I see what's going on here. I can keep that level. This orange has got to go. Sometimes you get real confused on what you're working on. So this can be real dark. I don't know if I'm blocking it, so it's kind of hard. Real dark right here. And then I can roll over, probably somewhere around here, and give me some out of focus water. I can lighten it with the white. Just wanted that to be in the picture. It should be going downhill more, but it's my pictures. A wave can go like that or this, so it doesn't matter. Now I can come in here, freehand, and I could start with a further distance, making my highlight smaller. Tip dry. And get these darks in that really have to be there. Aim down. I don't want green. I want, you know. It's kind of a line, but it's not. It's like that, a little bit blurry. And then it goes like this to a dagger point right there. Okay, so those things will start making sense as I darken these more. This area here has to really be darkened. Matter of fact, that highlight doesn't even exist in that spot, so let me get rid of that. That's better. Then you look behind it and everything gets lighter. Except back in here, you got aim the gun down and come in this way. Okay. Over here. It would help if I put more paint in. I'm going to add some more I'm going to put water in the blue. Yeah, that looks too stencily, but it is kind of, but it's not there yet. This has to be taken out here. Now the gun's behaving better because I added more more liquid to it, except I'm slipping here. That's going to fade down. I'll use some weight for that. Let's just kind of glaze this far away, kind of aiming down. So I'm reshaping those glowy highlights to slivers and things that they are. Now over here, okay. The sharpness now has to come in here. This is in my way. This is very skinny, so let's do this with a shield. I think I'll use the big shield. I need length on this. Hopefully it's the right shape I need. Let me see. It's kind of too straight there. Might be good here. Yeah, that's rounding off there, so I got to back it up a little more. Got to be careful of that part. Starts to round it off right around there, so I can use part of it right here. That's going to play in better to the shapes. This can just be freehand. I'm not going to paint the bottom darker. I'm going to paint the top darker. See what that looks like. Kind of like two-tone. Okay, and I'll zoom in a little more so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Whoop, I pulled it right back out. Okay, over here. So this kind of highlight that's going the wrong way, you just go right through it. You correct things by just reworking it. A lot of forgiveness in the landscape, seascape scene. Try to get this. Okay, this meets up and goes dark right here. Okay, change the shape of this a little bit with some pump strokes. Get in there and get that highlight tinier. My cup is hitting. The side of the cup is hitting there. That goes blur. This kind of has some of them. This one's going to go wide to thin, feather stroke. Then I'm going to knock it back with a light color. Up in here, far away, kind of, aiming down. Keep it out of the sky if I can. Otherwise, I got to repaint that area. It's kind of blurry out there, so I'll just kind of pass over it one more time. Darker here. Not as dark as this, but that's where I'm at right now. second coating. A transparent will get darker and darker. It will almost go black. And this is not, it's not fully opaque. It's, you know, it's got white in it, but some just different rows of shapes and forms that are in that. You don't want to just make it solid if it's not. The reason why my cup's hitting it is I'm painting for the camera. So my gun is kind of turned so you could see stuff. If normally I'd be like probably more like that. So the cup won't be, hopefully it won't scratch it. You know, that's my main thing. All right, so I do have one cut out already. I just gotta look for it. At least I did, behind the desk here. I had a number of these things cut out. Hopefully, so you got some shapes that are cut out right there. But I need, okay, I'll do this right here. This is a sharper one, and it's not even the right shape right now. It still works, but it's not. And I'm only gonna spray at the top, not all the way down. And then I'm gonna trail off of it with a freehand soft stroke right here. As long as my gun behaves. And it won't with tip dry, right? Yeah, I guess it fills in a little more there. I could do that. And then this will be kind of free-handy. It starts going out of focus here. And there's a point where you could say, oh, the painting's done, you know, for what it was worth artistic-wise, but I'm trying to get closer to the values and the things that are going on with that real sharp edge. It's like mountains, you know? Here, that highlight gets smaller. And then there's a lot of turbulence in here, so I could kind of use a pump stroke here and just make dots and stuff, and noise, visual noise. This one goes rolling a little more pointed. Okay, so I am getting into a dark, saturated blue, and I don't know if I want that in the end, but there's a scratch here. I'm just going to bury it with the opaque, semi-opaque color, and come up here, softer, and then it's real heavy here. It cuts up higher too. It goes up in here. Freehand, so let's second coat it. Keep it blurry though, because it's out of focus, in focus, out of focus. And what's going on here? Highlights. Yeah, saturation's too much, too blue right there. Now I'm just looking at the painting, the photograph, and I'm just kind of making my own little shape here. Just getting a little flooded there, but it's pretty skinny in here, and it gets fat again. Another one of these feather strokes right here. And if I switch it to the other side, I think it will be in the way. It won't be in the way. Yeah, I've never had it on this side before, but you're right. That would be, that wouldn't be doing that for, thank you. I'll do that. I'm not going to try to do that right now. I don't want to run into any problems, but yeah, I didn't even think of switching the color cup around. just see where I'm at. These little shapes here. It's going to be a highlight in here that's going to be caused more by this darkness coming in here. And this is a bigger shape right here. Popping that highlight out. Still keeping this out of focus. There's no hard edges there. There's more highlights, but let's get one more of these guys in there. Pretty skinny. Blur it out a little bit. And I'm just going to put some color in there of the same color to knock it together a little bit. I'm sitting back looking at it and seeing what I want to do. Dark. Let's see if I could do this freehand. It's already established. It's a hard edge, but it's choppy here. It goes kind of like weird. Okay, so that's real dark. Go darker here. Maybe come down a little lower. This connects. This comes all into the same area right here. And then this goes this way. Feather strokes, just big feather strokes. All right, now that's getting too dark back there, and I'll set that off with in a little bit. Let's see. Lots of these right here. Highlights split that up more. So not every shape is the same as my painting. This is kind of a big shape here I can change. So what I'm saying is they're all close, but no cigar as far as the exactness. And I'll go in a lot of times after a video and I'll do things and I'll touch things up, or I'll do things without the camera on, and I'll fix things, show it later on, and I just seem to do better that way. Okay. All right. So what do we got here? We got a little. Try it freehand. Doing here. No, I don't like that freehand, so I'm going to cut that out a little bit, or at least use a shield. It's a little, I shaped it wrong. It's got to go more that way. I'm making it bigger than it really is. But if I can at least stretch it out this way a little more, I can fool around with highlights and make that stand out better. Yeah, I got bigger on it. Maybe more like that. Kind of one behind the other. Yeah, this one's too big, but the highlight's going to have to help me out there. Tip dry can ruin everything. Highlight will shape that again. All right, let's see. Let me start softening this area up. I do see one more dark area right here. All right. What I'm going to do is take the HP Plus, and I'm going to put white in it. I'm not going to just put white in it though. I'm gonna dirty it up with the same color. So I'm gonna make like a dirty highlight, like a bluish highlight. So I'm just gonna take my white. I should shake that up a little bit. Okay. And it's not gonna flow good. It's opaque. So I'm gonna put my reducer in, a 4012, a little bit, cut through it. Then I'm going to add my other color. Might have made a little too much color here, but let's try it. So here's what I'm doing. Drops. Stir it around. Now that will act as a highlight, you know, like in here and stuff like that. And it might not be light enough, but I can just do it again and get other areas lighter. But right now I want to just kind of knock this section back. Oh yeah, I was going to use the HP Plus. So don't mind me. I like it's a little wider nozzle and a little harder to control for details. I don't have a soft spring in it and things like that. Turn the air pressure down. Which way does this go? Here we go. Okay, so all this in here. First I'll start right here. That'll have to be a yellow. I'll do that later. Don't want a blue highlight there. This is kind of like just little noisy shapes. Yeah, this might be too blue still, but knock that back, the saturation, push that back. It's still dark, but not as dark, not as stark sticking out. That's pretty dark there, but this side comes in and gets lighter. And then it kind of just trails off down here. Get rid of that orange right there. Let's make that part of it. Sorry. There's painting right over here. Okay, so now let's see. I could see some of this color in here a little bit. Let me try it. Lots of little shapes here. So the little highlight shapes are shapes just like the black, but they're doing another thing. Gonna get real light in here. This is gonna bust in here. They're even lighter. They're gonna be whiter, I guess. This will be bright highlights, so I won't even bother spraying there. Maybe lighten that a little more in here, so to show some individual shapes inside that darkness. Pieces that are breaking away. Coming down, it's like the water's so turbulent, it's like doing everything. All right, time to look at it, see what I got going on here. This is just blur. I don't know if that goes that way so much, so I might cut that off that way. This is too sharp of an edge here. Okay. A little killing some of this yellow here for a minute. Just tying that in a little more. And some noise, just visual noise out here, just little crazy shapes. Blurry. Airbrush is automatically blurry, right? Okay, white now. And everything's swooping down kind of that way. All right, so I'll zoom. Am I still zoomed in too much? Yeah, that's changing everything. All right, so I'm gonna go to a highlight. I'm gonna go to a bright white with a dirty airbrush. Maybe it doesn't matter. And start to pop out sections. Hopefully, it will be looking good to you guys. We do the best we can under a live format, you know. Act like we know what we're doing. Okay, so this is just white, and if I have to tint it later, I will. I'll put a little blue in it, just a bit, and I mean a bit. I'm gonna take a paintbrush, and I'm gonna take some of that original blue and just dirty up the white a little bit. So I have white, but it's kind of blue-white now, but much lighter than that one. Let's see how that works. Squint the eyes. Out of focus highlight. Right. Bill, you know what you're doing? Or Bill, do you know what you're doing? I don't know. Here's a bunch of really, really out of focus things going on. But in order for me to really get back where I want with highlights, I'm going to try the white again and see what happens. Because there are some spots where the white is very bright, but then it gets tinted a little bit of a color. This is a real white shape right here. And it's out of focus, so I can't use a stencil here. And it goes this way, kind of trails off, breaks away, and then it comes back here from the skinny, kind of broken up. It's not just one line. These are skinnier highlights, so I'll just run over the edge of this one. Like that. Go up on this one. Up and then down. That's right in there, kind of. So it helps show the trail of this going back and forth. This is going to be a little tricky. I'm challenged to do that right now. Okay. I'm thinking the bigger French curve, but not sure. Not sure yet. It's pretty big, like that big shield there, but this is kind of lighter colors, obviously, so it's going to make it pop more. I'll just try a small area right here. That's better. My hose is getting hung up. Okay, so we want this area to be without it getting fuzzy. A little fat there, but it travels through. It's really a skinny line. a little heavy on the trigger there. But this area is lit up and the highlight starts to go behind it. Not the micron, so I don't know. It's not on that side. Come on. Whoops, too fat. Tip dry. I should know better with the behavior of the opaque paint. Now their shapes are better. When nothing's coming out, hold off. A little more air pressure. Maybe get a little more done. Air on, push. That's the Terry Hill model. Very quiet. It can be dotty, you know, broken up little like dots and shapes and things like that. These are dots right here. Whoops. No. See how that's more or less the reducer that's cutting into the paint. I'm not worried about it because that's darker than it is right there. So I'm just going to kind of get kind of a, nope, too much air pressure. Okay, let's just put a normal highlight there and then kind of pump in a few out of focus areas. It's really a lot of them right here. One, but they're distant, they're further away. And then they kind of connect a little bit. Let's look at that. It's blurry, yeah. It's okay. Not sure you're getting it, and then all of a sudden it happens. Where the color cup hit, I think. So I'll sharpen that up again and play around, but the highlights are pushing things now. I'm not worried about the yellow I originally sprayed because my highlights were not. I buried them too much a little bit with that blue. That's the nice thing about transparency. You can tint things, you know. Hurts my hand, this airbrush. Hurts this muscle right here. It has the higher trigger and it has the normal spring from the factory. And I'm feeling, and I don't use this as much, and I'm feeling that pressure from it, definitely. So I have the lowrider trigger from Drew Blair, and I'm so used to that and the soft spring. I would have that even if I bought the new airbrush by, you know, Iwata's new Micron, which I don't have the money for that. But the bottom line is I would get the soft spring in it. Once you feel that soft spring, it's customized. Turbulence. This is really lit up over here, so I'm gonna do that. The more I get this area a little more whiter right in here. I can always tint it. And then there's a lot of little shapes in here. I'll probably find them and cut them out and do them off camera so I don't ruin the painting. But there's a mist over the background there. It's kind of a mist, and there's a white out of focus blur back here. Just to give it horizon, like almost like mist or something, you know. There's white for that other highlight. It's more like that. There's one like that. There's some smaller ones right there. Kind of like just keep looking at it and put in what you see. Get as close as you can to it. Right in here. So I'll go here and I'll look for the highlight right here. I'm gonna make it pretty bright because I'm gonna go over it later. There's darks in here that I don't even have, but I have to do this in order to find this again because I started to lose it a little bit. Further away with the airbrush here. There's a nice bright spot right here, right under here. So it goes right here. And then it cuts up this way. Almost attaches to it. Can't see the connection and it's so light in there. But you just melt over this a little bit. A little bit of overspray here. And like I said, that's gonna go that way. So this is too fat. So I'll just darken that. The other airbrush, but I did put liquid in there, so I gotta hopefully. Yeah, I've got water in there. What am I doing? Okay. Air dry it. Turn down the air pressure and get this out of there. That's water from me spraying with the wrong thing there. Just take that out. There. That doesn't bother my eye as much. Make that smaller. And make this shape. Back and forth, finding these shapes. And if the blue bothers me in the end, I'll go back with some blacker colors and I'll knock it into more of a blacker picture, showing some color. I just like the blue with the orange. I think it looks cool. Second coating. I know it's repetitious. You got to go back and forth, and if you overspray on something, you fix it. Break that up a little bit. It's too perfect. There, that looks more like water there. These are darker. Micron, maybe I can do this. And they make the highlights thinner too, by going around them like that. Almost feels like I'm doing a snow scene now or something. So there's going to be a lot of little dudes in here. So there'll be this bigger one. That might be it. Let's find it. There. I don't even have it in there. Okay, I'll go over here. It's over here. I'll just sketch it in first, blurry. And there's this kind of stuff. Whoops, let's get that rounded off a little bit. And then I've got some of these softer ones, kind of going over the same spot twice. Almost like lines here. Just go a little longer. I'm watching the time. Okay. Still got a lot of blue in it, like I had originally, but finding more shapes, I think. This shape goes down here. Once you get more shapes in, I think you start to find, you know, like the bigger areas that you missed. Like I said, it's water. You can make your own little, as long as you keep the directions similar. This has another hill right here. Lots of stuff going on in here that I don't even have in there yet. here. A little sharp here. I didn't think it would be so sharp in this part, but I'm painting what I am looking at, so maybe the camera's picking up a little more focus there. I don't know. Oops. Okay, so the bigger shapes are what counts. All this little stuff I can tweak and go back and forth until it doesn't just look like abstract only. You know, it's kind of got a little more going on than that. I am going to take, right now, before we close this out, I'm going to take black because the dynamic, I could still have color in it, but I think the black might settle this picture down into more sharper shapes that the value will be like more closer to the original, but totally able to still have coloring in a little bit. Okay, so that looks like that would work. It should be interesting. I haven't really done this to the painting. Get rid of that blue for a minute. So I'm going to go black here. I'm just going to look at it. I like that. I do. And I'm going to come straight up here. And it's out of focus, but it's got a nice, strong line right here. Maybe the combination of the two will work together nice. Like it won't spray the whole thing. Maybe leave some blue. Get over in here, make this black. There's a lot of blue in here, I'll leave that. I'm gonna go blacker here. Yeah, I like that. It's dramatic, you know, so I am gonna put some black in it, but I'm not gonna kill the blue completely. This is square here. Highlight's gotta go back on that. Really wasn't there at all. Okay, get back in here now. This is black. right here, coming down. Trail off, leave the blue. Break it up a little bit, leave some blue there. I think this will be more separated too if I can get some. Work. Just there, and then over here. Making the highlight skinnier and stuff. I even could see a little tiny brushwork maybe for some sparkles, but not like right in here, in the photograph you could see it. Let me just show you. Like right over in here, I see little sparkles and stuff. The airbrush can do it, but might be able to get a little more going on there. All right, so getting rid of some of the blue, which as long as I leave some in there, I'm happy. Because I think it's too much blue. Out of focus, pull back. Get some of these shapes to be just little blurry shapes. Yeah, let's look at it that way. Tint over this a little bit. Kill some of the blue. Okay. And knock this highlight back with this black just a little bit. Just knock it into the picture more. It's faded out more. Can't hardly see it. So that's how I knock things back in and out, and finding all the different directions that I can go. Sculpting. So yeah, I changed my mind working on this, right, and saying I don't want black in it, but I think I do. But still got color that this one doesn't have. You see plenty of blue in here, maybe more than I want even still, but take the airbrush back further and make it out of focus. These are shapes I see back there. I'm not copying them exact, but I'm trying to get something going on to look similar. Okay, so a little bit more here. All right, I'm not going to go any further with the black because I don't want to ruin it just here. Can't stop it. Just the edge of that part. Keeping that separate and keeping this separate right in here. Okay, guys. 2-hour video just about, right? Okay. I see my son just texted me, and he's arrived in New York with anybody that knows that he's now moved to a new location, far away from us. Oh boy. But he's there safely, so I'll get on the phone with him or text him or something. But it's good to see that text. We're here. Okay, so yeah, these are going to go this way, these guys here. Got to be careful here, I don't want to ruin this. Keep saying that, don't I? All right, so I'll study it and I'll see if I like what I did. And it's definitely more nighttime looking. It's definitely, more in that world. That I've got the blue in there and stuff, but might have to tone that down a little now because, well, whatever. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be doing some more YouTube stuff. But if anybody's interested, on Tuesday night at 7:30 on Facebook, I'll be working on the jet painting, okay? And that would be doing the sky around it. I already have the jet done. And I have a backup painting to start in case I get all this done. And I try to stay about 2 hours. So that'll be on Facebook, which is Bill Sneggin personal page, my personal page. There usually is a link attached if you go to the Airbrush, some kind of digest. It's a TV guide, okay? You're welcome, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Oh, thank you, John. That makes me feel good. So, yeah, you guys know about the Facebook Live. I'm trying to do it consistently on Tuesdays. And yeah, just let me just wipe a little bit off here, show you what I do to sometimes just see the painting, you could take a piece of tape just to see the edge and make sure you put this on real good because you're just trying to see the white area, and then I can kind of get rid of that with the Windex. Yeah, I'm out of clayboard, so I'm looking around at my, I got scrap pieces and stuff, but I'm looking around at my desk, and I started a picture of the baby from Incredibles, and I kind of got a lot of overspray on the skin tone, and then I put it away. I stopped working on it. Long story short, the more I looked at it, the more I didn't want to do the painting. Like I just didn't care for it. So I took the Windex to the whole board, and now I'm sanding, so I'll have a new piece of clay board. But anyway, there you can see the border a little better on that, just in that area. You can see the difference here, and it starts to look, so, well, again, thank you guys. Asking about the paint type. Oh, thank you, because I wasn't reading. Okay, so the paint type, again, I'll show the bright bottle, is Createx Illustration Colors, okay, and it's optimized for use with Drew Blair Color Buffer Method. If anybody wants to know what that is all about, go to Drew Blair's School of Realism, and he has a store, and you can get Classroom in a Box, you can get his color theory, you can go to him, he has classes in person, and he has video virtual things, where you can take lessons. But what was the other question? It was, okay, so this is clay board, the substrate, and I'm using the 4012. Be careful with that too. 4012 reducer. But a lot of times I'll just use the water, which I use distilled water in an old bottle of Medea's. It's because it's good for squirting. And what else? So that's the paint. And when you make pegs, with the white, you start to get that solid covering that doesn't let you see through. If you spray transparent, you're going to see through it. Asking about the paint. Oh, my PSI. Okay, so exactly the PSI is not necessarily known by me. It's a feel. My compressor's set high for t-shirts, and I just have the Mac valve. So I'm probably running, that feels like about 20 pounds, but do I see it on the gauge? I need a new cover for my gauge. It's fogged up, so I can't even really see it, but that's very, very light air pressure. When the paint don't move, when the paint doesn't move, it's time to, put up the air a little more. When I was cutting some of these lines in here, I ended up having higher pressure, which can come back and bite you with overspray and stuff. So you got to be careful. But so that's kind of it. I'll post the finished painting on my Facebook page and different areas, and on Instagram. That's Bill_Sneggin art, I think, _art. It might be Bill Sneggin. I'll try it again. Bill_Sneggin, SNEGON _ it might be Airbrush or art. I don't remember. Okay. So thanks again for hanging out. I see the 11 likes there. That's nice. And the comments. And I think we had 12 at one point. We're still floating with 7. This will be up on my YouTube channel. Okay. And if you want to see any of this earlier, I think I've worked on it on my Facebook. So just go to my Facebook page and scroll and try to find it. I post a lot of stuff, so you have to look through things, right? Watching you live. Yeah, I'm live, man. I'm still alive. I'm right here. Here's some nice thing. So, okay, everybody, thanks for hanging out, and I hope I answered your questions. Couldn't find the older paintings. You know what? I save them indefinitely, Sam, and then Facebook makes them go away. It says you want them up for 30 days, or do you want to do like indefinite? And then I go look for the older ones and they're gone. So if somebody knows if they're going into some archive folder in my Facebook page somewhere, I look under albums and videos, and a lot of them are gone. So I don't know what that is. But good night, everyone. God bless. And I'll see you on Facebook on Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. Take care.